She was mocked and spat on by a rich, arrogant woman, treated like she was nothing but dirt. Everyone laughed until her billionaire husband arrived, and when he spoke, the entire place fell silent. What he did next, it was unforgettable. "Here, let me help you with those," Emma said warmly, approaching an elderly woman struggling with several shopping bags at the corner crosswalk. The woman's weathered face brightened with gratitude as Emma gently took the heaviest bags. "Bless you, dear. These old bones aren't what they used to be," the woman said, her voice carrying the wisdom of decades. As the pedestrian signal turned green, Emma carefully guided the elderly woman into the crosswalk, matching her slow pace without a hint of impatience. There was something quietly dignified about Emma, a gentle confidence that radiated from within rather than from any external trappings of wealth. Behind the wheel of a gleaming red Ferrari, Lauren Vasquez drummed her manicured nails against the leather steering wheel. Her designer sunglasses couldn't hide the irritation flashing across her face as she watched the pair slowly make their way across the street. "Come on," Lauren muttered, her diamond bracelet catching the sunlight as she gestured impatiently. "Some of us have important places to be." Lauren's eyes narrowed as she scrutinized Emma's modest appearance. In Lauren's world, a world of charity galas, yacht parties, and exclusive social clubs, someone dressed like Emma was either staff or lost. The possibility that anyone would choose simplicity over ostentation was beyond her comprehension. From the safety of her luxury vehicle, Lauren had no way of knowing that the woman she was about to confront was married to Ethan Soares, whose investment empire controlled businesses worth billions across South America and beyond. Emma's simple band on her left hand, the only jewelry she wore, had been designed by her husband himself, a token of their love that needed no ostentatious display. As Emma and the elderly woman finally reached the other side, Lauren's patience was about to snap, setting in motion a confrontation that would change everything. The moment Emma and the elderly woman reached the sidewalk, Lauren's Ferrari horn blared through the peaceful Ipanema afternoon. The harsh sound made several pedestrians jump, including the elderly woman who clutched Emma's arm for support. "Finally!" Lauren shouted, rolling down her window. "Some of us have actual appointments to keep." Her voice carried that particularly grating tone of entitlement that seemed to demand the world bend to her schedule. Emma turned, her eyes meeting Lauren's with unexpected steadiness. "And some of us have the decency to stop for people who aren't in a 2-ton luxury car." This simple response seemed to infuriate Lauren further. She pulled her Ferrari abruptly to the curb, the expensive tires screeching against the pavement. Heads turned as she emerged from the vehicle like a storm cloud in designer heels and a silk pantsuit that probably cost more than most people's monthly rent. "Do you have any idea who I am?" Lauren demanded, approaching Emma with the confidence of someone who had never been told no in her adult life. "Or what your little charity case cost me." She gestured dismissively toward the elderly woman, who shrank back. Emma exhaled sharply, shaking her head as she guided the elderly woman to a nearby bench. "I don't, and honestly, I don't care. But I do know that no amount of money can fix a rotten character." A crowd began to form, drawn by Lauren's raised voice and theatrical gestures. From a nearby cafe, a woman in matching designer wear, Lauren's friend Bianca, hurried over to join the spectacle. "Lauren, darling, what's happening?" Bianca asked, her eyes sliding over Emma with the practiced assessment of someone measuring worth by appearance alone. This nobody decided that blocking traffic was more important than respecting other people's time," Lauren sneered, as though Emma's simple act of decency was a personal affront. Emma crossed her arms, her expression unwavering. "The only thing I disrespected was your delusion that the world revolves around you." Lauren laughed, a sound devoid of any real humor. "Well, aren't you just Mother Teresa in discount clothes? People like you should stick to the neighborhoods where you belong." Several onlookers exchanged uncomfortable glances. Emma's cheeks flushed slightly, but her posture remained dignified. "You don't get to decide where people belong. And if money is the only thing holding your world together, I feel sorry for you." "Oh, please," Bianca chimed in. "Save the inspirational calendar quotes. Do you even know what that necklace costs?" She pointed to the jewelry store across the street. "More than you'd make in a decade, I'm guessing." Emma let out a small scoff, tilting her head. "If I ever start measuring my worth in overpriced trinkets, you have my permission to slap some sense into me." Lauren stepped closer, invading Emma's personal space. Well, maybe you should. Then you might understand why some people matter in this world, and others are just taking up space. The crowd grew larger, smartphones appearing as people sensed the drama escalating. Emma stood her ground, refusing to back away, despite Lauren's intimidating stance. I understand plenty, Emma said coldly. Like how people who have everything can still be completely empty inside. Something in Emma's calm defiance seemed to snap the last thread of Lauren's restraint. Her face contorted with rage, and before anyone could react, she did the unthinkable. She spat directly in Emma's face. The crowd gasped. Time seemed to freeze as the shocking act of disrespect registered with everyone present. Emma stood perfectly still, the humiliation burning across her face as a drop slid down her cheek. That's what I think of your little philosophy lesson, Lauren hissed triumphantly. Emma slowly wiped her face with a tissue offered by a horrified bystander. When she looked up, something had changed in her eyes. Not defeat, but a quiet determination that made even Lauren pause momentarily. You just showed everyone here exactly what kind of person you are, Emma said, her voice cutting through the air like steel wrapped in silk. And trust me, nothing you own can buy that back. Just then, the distinctive purr of a powerful engine drew attention to the street behind them. A sleek black Bentley with tinted windows pulled up silently to the curb, though Lauren was too engrossed in her moment of perceived victory to notice its arrival. The atmosphere shifted as the door of the sleek Bentley opened. Time itself seemed to pause as a tall figure emerged, his movements deliberate and measured. Ethan Morgan stepped onto the sidewalk, his tailored Italian suit contrasting with the relaxed beachwear of Ipanema, yet somehow he belonged more than anyone. It wasn't his wealth that commanded attention. It was his presence. His steel blue eyes surveyed the scene with the calculated precision of someone accustomed to sizing up situations in seconds. The crowd instinctively parted as he approached, conversations dying mid-sentence. Emma remained perfectly still, her dignity intact despite the humiliation still visible on her face. Ethan's eyes found hers first, a silent exchange passing between them that spoke volumes. Then his gaze shifted to Lauren, hardening instantly. "That's my wife you just spat on," he stated, his voice quiet, yet carrying across the now silent gathering with perfect clarity. Lauren's triumphant expression froze, then crumbled. Her eyes darted from Emma to Ethan, recognition dawning with horrifying clarity. "Mr. Morgan, I didn't realize," Lauren stammered, her designer purse nearly slipping from suddenly trembling fingers. Beside her, Bianca paled visibly. "Lauren," she whispered urgently, tugging at her friend's sleeve. "That's Ethan Morgan, the Ethan Morgan." Smartphones that had been recording the confrontation lowered respectfully. The elderly woman Emma had helped across the street nodded knowingly, as if she'd expected this all along. Lauren's perfectly made-up face contorted as she struggled to process this devastating turn of events. "There's been a terrible misunderstanding," she attempted, her formerly commanding voice now reduced to a pleading whisper. Ethan raised one hand slightly, silencing her instantly. "I believe I've seen enough," he said, removing his jacket and gently placing it around Emma's shoulders. "And so has everyone else." The implications of his words hung in the air like thunder before lightning. Everyone knew the storm was coming. The crowd had gone silent, all eyes locked on the man who had just stepped out of the sleek black Bentley. Ethan Morgan, and from the icy fire in his eyes, it was clear. He hadn't come to negotiate. He walked toward them with a calm that was more terrifying than rage. When he spoke, his voice was smooth, measured, but every syllable carried the weight of judgment. "Tell me, Lauren," he said, his blue gaze cutting through her like a blade. "Does humiliating strangers make you feel powerful? Does spitting in a woman's face give you a sense of importance? Because from where I'm standing, all I see is a desperate woman clinging to a world that no longer respects her." Lauren flinched, but before she could recover, Ethan turned his attention to Bianca. "And you," he continued, so eager to laugh, to mock, to tear down another woman. "Tell me, Bianca, was it worth it? Because in about 5 minutes, you're going to realize you just destroyed the only thing keeping your magazine afloat." Bianca's face paled. Mr. Morgan, He held up a hand. "Don't speak." The two women froze, their arrogance unraveling in real time. The bystanders were now recording openly, their cameras capturing every second of their downfall. Ethan turned back to his wife. "Emma, my love, would you like to explain to them exactly who they just tried to destroy?" Emma stepped forward, her voice smooth, unshaken. "Lauren, Bianca, you called me a nobody." Her blue eyes pierced through them like ice. "But here's what you didn't bother to learn before deciding you were superior." She took a slow breath. Then, with the quiet power of a woman who had built an empire without ever needing to shout, she spoke. "I am Emma Morgan, founder of Compassion International Relief, CEO of one of the largest humanitarian organizations in the world. The same organization that donated $50 million last year alone to disaster relief. The same organization that funded the cancer wing at San Lucas Hospital. The same hospital that bears your father's name, Lauren." Lauren staggered back, gasping. "No," she whispered, shaking her head in disbelief. Emma tilted her head slightly, her expression unreadable. "Yes," Ethan smirked. "Oh, and that necklace you mocked her for not being able to afford." He let the silence stretch. "Emma personally donated enough money to buy 50 of them, and instead of jewelry, she chose to build schools." The crowd erupted in murmurs, the weight of the revelation sinking in. Lauren's lips trembled. I didn't know." Ethan took a slow step forward, towering over her. "You didn't care." His voice was lethal in its softness. "And now? Now you do. But it's too late." A sleek black car pulled up to the curb. The driver stepped out and hurried over to Ethan. "Sir, the board has been informed of today's events. As per your standing order, Atlantic Luxury Holdings is officially severing all business ties with the Costa brand and Bianca's publications." Bianca's knees nearly buckled. "No, please." Ethan didn't even spare her a glance. Lauren gripped her designer purse like a lifeline. You can't do this." Emma met her gaze with quiet finality. "Oh, but we can. And we just did." Silence. And then, applause. Not hesitant, not uncertain. Full, resounding applause. The kind that carried weight. The kind that told Lauren and Bianca exactly how the world saw them now. Ethan turned to his wife, offering his hand. "Come on, love, let's leave them to think about what they've lost." Emma took his hand, and together they stepped into the Bentley, leaving behind nothing but the wreckage of two women's shattered arrogance. As the doors closed, Ethan glanced at his wife, a small smirk playing at his lips. "Remind me to send Lauren's father a personal letter of gratitude. I hear he's been looking for a reason to cut her off." Emma chuckled softly, shaking her head. "Karma's faster than I expected." And with that, the car pulled away, leaving Lauren and Bianca to stand in the middle of their ruined reputation, under the unrelenting glare of the afternoon sun. Lauren sat in the corner of an upscale cafe, oversized sunglasses shielding her face, but they couldn't hide the whispers. "That's her," someone murmured, "the woman from the article." She had spent years ensuring she was the one people envied. Now, she was a cautionary tale. Her phone buzzed, another missed call from her father. After Ethan pulled Atlantic Luxury's support, investors had begun questioning their partnerships with the Costa brand. The damage was spreading, and for the first time, Lauren realized that influence built on arrogance was as fragile as glass. Across town, Bianca sat in the now half-empty office of LuxView magazine. Advertisers had pulled out, and the board was scrambling to contain the fallout. She flipped through an old issue, her own words staring back at her. "Elegance is knowing who belongs and who doesn't." The irony burned. Meanwhile, Emma's world kept moving forward. At a children's hospital opening, Emma stood beside Ethan, cutting the ribbon for a new wing, one her foundation had funded. Cameras flashed, not in scandal, but in admiration. A journalist approached. "Mrs. Morgan, your story has inspired countless people. What do you hope comes from all this?" Emma smiled. "I hope people understand that kindness isn't weakness, and that dignity will always outlast cruelty." That night, social media was flooded with messages. Women shared their own experiences of being judged by their appearances, their wealth, their status. The conversation had grown beyond Emma. It had become a movement, a final reckoning, Weeks later, at a high-profile charity gala, Lauren arrived, hoping to reclaim some shred of her former life. But the moment she stepped inside, the shift was undeniable. People greeted her politely, but without warmth. Conversations ended when she approached. The unspoken message was clear. She was no longer one of them. Across the room, Emma stood, engaged in conversation with industry leaders. Noticing Lauren, she excused herself and approached. Lauren swallowed. "Emma, She hesitated. "I didn't know who you were." Emma's gaze was steady. "That was the problem." Lauren exhaled shakily. "Can I fix this?" Emma considered her for a long moment before replying. "That's not up to me. It's up to who you choose to be from now on." She left Lauren standing there, not with revenge, but with something far more powerful, a choice. Because in the end, true transformation isn't forced upon someone. It's a decision they must make for themselves. Before you go, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. That way, you'll never miss another powerful story like this. Sometimes, the most unexpected moments teach us the biggest lessons, and you won't want to miss what's coming next. Now, tell me, have you ever been judged just by your appearance? Have you faced a moment where people assumed they knew your worth before even speaking to you? How did you handle it? I'd love to hear your story in the comments, because your experience might inspire someone today. And if this story touched your heart, hit the like button and share it with a friend. Here, we believe that true greatness isn't about money, power, or luxury. It's about how we treat others. Also, let me know in the comments, where are you watching from? It's amazing to see how people from all over the world connect through these stories. Thank you for being part of this community. Remember, kindness is powerful and dignity is priceless. See you in the next story.